Good morning, Harrisburg. My name is Bradley Blakeman. I'm a board member of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, and it is my honor to serve as your host on this momentous day as we break ground on our Veterans Village here in Harrisburg, which will include 64-unit apartment structure, as well as 20 comfort homes, much like the unit you'll see behind you. And after lunch or during lunch, please feel free to walk through this amazing structure that we're going to have right here on this property to honor our nation's heroes. To begin our ceremony today, we ask that you please rise for the presentation of colors by the Harrisburg High School Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, as well as long-serving community organization, the Kilty Band of York. We ask that you please remain standing through the retiring of colors.
Detail, hand, salute.
Please welcome Harrisburg local, who has performed the national anthem for over 40 years, from Memorial Stadium to Penn State to West Point, Mr. David Coombs.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ready, two.
Thank you. Thank you, David. And now to deliver our invocation, please welcome from the Salem United Church of Christ, Pastor Susan Schmidt.
Detail, uncover.
Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, we gather here today in gratitude for those who have had the compassion, the vision, and the wisdom to create this Tunnels to Towers project in Harrisburg. We ask that you bless them and bring about the fruition of their plans smoothly and without delay. We ask that you bless this space, the homes, the grounds, the meeting spaces. We ask that you bless all who build and care for this place, and that it would be a sacred place. We ask that it be filled with joy and peace, that the laughter of new friends and comrades would fill the air, and that all who come will be welcomed into love and healing. Loving God, we ask a specific blessing on all those who enter this place to find a new home. We thank you for their service to this country and acknowledge the price they have paid in offering this service. We ask that you bless them with a sense of your presence and of your deep love for each of them. Sink their roots deep and let them breathe deeply in their new homes, and pour your spirit of peace and healing upon them so that the morning that comes in the evening will turn into the joy of a new day. We ask all this for you are a compassionate God, full of grace and mercy and abounding in love. We ask this for you seek wholeness and healing for all of your creation and abundance of life in the knowledge of your goodness. Amen.
Detail. Recover.
Please join me in a moment of silence to honor the fallen members of our armed forces and first responders who are no longer with us. May they never be forgotten.
Thank you, Pastor Schmidt. Please retire the colors. Please be seated. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize fellow board member Jean Ringhoff. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Good morning, everybody. We are thrilled to be here in your capital city, the great state of Pennsylvania. Here in Harrisburg, we're making history. the Tunnel to Towers Foundation is dedicated to establish ourselves in this beautiful town as a member of your community and a permanent home for our heroes. As a board member of Tunnel to Towers, I have been honored to work for our military and first responder heroes. And let's never forget the reason why Tunnel to Towers exists is because of the bravery of Stephen Siller, who laid down his life on 9/11. So much good has come from his sacrifice. I too have a story of 9/11. Let me take you inside the White House on 9/11/2001. I was a member of President George W. Bush's senior White House staff. I was responsible for all his time. I was the gatekeeper to the president. And on that day, I had the president scheduled for 21 days. We knew exactly, or thought we knew exactly what we were doing. And on that day, if you recall, President Bush was in Sarasota, Florida, advancing our No Child Left Behind policy to school children. And the majority of our staff was back at the White House. And we started our day typically with a 7 a.m. senior staff meeting in the Roosevelt Room in the West Wing. And it was a typical day. We had our senior staff meeting, 7 to 7:30. We retired to our offices to begin our day of work. The president was to return later that day. And I had my television on because I knew that outside events could affect the president's schedule. And sure enough, when I heard the first plane had hit, it was unimaginable to me because it was such a beautiful day. Being from New York, I couldn't believe that a plane could have hit that tower. And then shortly thereafter, we saw in real time the second plane hit. And I knew that America was under attack. I left my office in the West Wing. I walked down the hallway to the Situation Room, thinking they may have information. And I walked in there, and they were watching it in real time. There was a delay in what you see and what you eventually come to know. The president evacuated Florida. He went to another place. The plane that crashed in Shanksville by those heroes who took down that plane, they said that plane was coming either for the White House or the Capitol. We were evacuated. I was taken with 150 people I was responsible for at another location. And as I continued to work, my sister was calling me because her son was a court officer 8 blocks from the Trade Center. He was unresponsive. And my brother was calling me because he was on the board of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which owned the Trade Center. We came to find out that my nephew, court officer, like Stephen Siller, responded to the South Tower, and he died saving others. Fortunately, we were able to recover his badge and his gun, but like Stephen, he was not recovered. They stand watch at that place. And when I told the president, actually he called me at my desk, I told our chief of staff, I said, you know, my nephew has been unresponsive, he's in the area. He said, did you tell the president? I said, no. A few minutes later, the president called me at my desk. Probably the first time he'd ever said this. He said, we're going to pray for your nephew. We're going to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. Literally, minutes later, the president appeared at my desk. Said, you tell your family, I'm going to pray, I'm going to bring these people to justice. And we did. So here at Tunnel to Towers, we are committed to doing good and never forgetting those we lost that day. The foundation builds specially adapted smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, and we provide mortgage-free homes to Gold Star families and fallen first responders leaving young children behind. In 2022, Frank Siller and our board decided we're not doing enough. We come to find out that there are allegedly 38,000 homeless vets on the streets of America. We believe that number to be much more. So the board decided that's the mission now, in addition to all the other good work we do, paying off mortgages, building smart homes, we're now going to eradicate veteran homelessness around this country. Our model pairs high-quality housing with comprehensive supportive services to ensure our veterans live in comfort and dignity and hope as they work towards financial stability and independence. And our standard, and you're going to see it from the Comfort Home, is if you and I wouldn't live there, we're not putting anybody else there. And as of December of 2024, I'm happy to report that through the efforts of Tunnels to Towers and the generosity of the American people, we have provided access and supportive services to over 10,000 of our veterans across the country. Now it's a great honor for me to introduce the leader of this effort, the person who came up with his family literally around a kitchen table, nickels, dimes, quarters, dollars, turned into the great organization we have today, our CEO and President, Frank Stiller.
Thank you, Bradley. Well, welcome everybody, distinguished guests, our military, thank you for your service, our first responders. I mean, when you hear those bagpipes, it always brings us right back to not only just 9/11, whatever personal loss that you may have had over the years. When you hear Amazing Grace being played, it most certainly moves us inside in a way that brings our emotions to a point where we realize that song means so many things. And that prayer means so many things. And, you know, Bradley Blakeman, who was just speaking up here, you know, lost, as he said, Senior Court Officer Thomas Juergens, his nephew, and my Chief of Staff lost her uncle, Terrence Manning. And when my Chief of Staff applied for the job and I found that out, I wasn't too impressed with the resume, but no. But when I found that out, I said, you know, God sends us so many messages along the way. It's incredible how many things that just happen, but they don't just happen. He put us on a path. He put Tunnel to Towers on a path, and the proof of it and why we're on this ground is that what's uncovered right here on this property is a beautiful stone that says September 11, 2001, that was buried here in the ground. And during cleaning the property, it was found, and there's a message in it. And I don't know what the message says, but the message to me says, Frank, this is where you're supposed to be building this beautiful veteran village for our greatest heroes in America, and to make sure that we take care of them at this beautiful site that overlooks this beautiful river. I mean, how unbelievable is this? So on September 11th, when I lost my brother, who was finished his night tour in Squad 1 in Brooklyn, an elite firehouse where he trained to help other firefighters. And, you know, he was on his way home. He was done. He was done his night tour. He was going to play golf. My brother Russ, my brother George, and myself. The four brothers were going to play golf. I mean, we didn't get a chance to do that too often. You know, everybody has such busy lives, so many kids involved. And, but he heard the call to duty. And what do these great heroes do? Every single time there's a call to duty, they run towards the danger. So my brother drives back. He gets his fire gear at his firehouse. Squad 1 had already responded. The fire truck was gone. He drives his truck, to the mouth of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Who here knows about the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel? All right, about half of you. Well, this tunnel is about almost 2 miles long. It connects Brooklyn with downtown Manhattan. When you come out, you come up on West Street, or West Side Highway it used to be, and you know, it's about 3/4 of a mile up is where Ground Zero is. So he couldn't go through with his car. He was told you can't go through. There was cars abandoned in it, and he wasn't allowed. So what does he do? He straps his 60 pounds of gear on his back and runs through the tunnel to the towers, up the stairs, and while saving people, he gives up his life. Think about it. It's incredible what he did to get there that day. It's incredible. Of course, that day, I don't know what he did. I know that he turned his car around because he called his wife up and he told his wife, Sally, he says, tell my brothers I'll try to catch up with them later. Obviously, we weren't going to be playing golf that day. Certainly, as Brad said, when the second plane hit, we all knew what was going on. You know, it wasn't an accident by any means. We were under attack. And so I didn't know how Stephen got there. I didn't know what he did, but I knew he got there. I had no doubt that my brother was in those towers. I had no doubt, not one speck of a doubt, that he would find a way and that he would be there doing his job. And but when we found out exactly what he did as a family, he was my little brother. He's the youngest of 7 kids. And when he was born, my father was 49, my mother was 44. And back in the olden days, that was a miracle. All right? So he really was our little gift from God. He was a very core of our family. But, you know, by the time my brother was 8 and a half, my pops passed away. And a year and a half later, our mom passed away. So at 10 years old, my brother was orphaned. And he was raised mostly by my oldest brother, Russ, God rest his soul. But all the siblings played a major part in his upbringing. So he was as much as a son to me as he was a brother. I was closest in age. I was 24 years older than him. So at 10 years old, I'm 24. I'm getting married. My other siblings are all married already, and most of them with children. So you can imagine this loss was so powerful, as everybody's loss was. Everybody's loss. But when we found out what he did, we said, we need to do something special to recognize the sacrifice that he made. And we did a run in New York City a year later, almost on the anniversary. It was actually September 29th, 2002. We didn't want to do it on 9/11 because we didn't want to take away from 9/11 at all. Everybody had their own stories. And we retraced his final heroic footsteps. There were about 1,500 people that ran through the tunnel that day up to Ground Zero, and we had a street fair to celebrate their lives. But we had the flags of every firefighter being held inside the tunnel. We had 343 flags being held inside because we wanted to recognize it wasn't just Stephen that made that sacrifice. There was 343 firefighters, and many of them were off duty. And there were 60 police officers. The following year, we had pictures of every single one of them. We had banners, pictures held by firefighters and police officers, and we moved them out of the tunnel, right outside the tunnel when you came out. So coming like through a tunnel out from the darkness to the light. And you saw the great sacrifice that was being held by all these great people. And we learned that from early on in the foundation that we're going to make sure that we just didn't recognize Stephen, that we wanted to recognize the heroism, but just not on 9/11, the heroism that's been made ever since. And we have 7,000 ROTC, right? Young men and young women holding the flags of the 7,000 plus men and women who have given their lives on the global war on terror. And if you see what this site looks when you come through that tunnel, it's nearly a mile long of pictures and names of those who had died for all of us. For all of us. For all of us. But sometimes the sacrifice could be as great as those who don't die. They'll go over there and are catastrophically injured or are homeless veterans because for some reason or another, not some reason or another, because they've seen horrific things. They come back and they can't assimilate back into society. So, how did we come to do what we do now? Yes, we made a promise that we're going to take care of every first responder in America who dies in the line of duty that leaves a young family behind. We're going to pay off their mortgage or build them a home if they don't have one. Every single one in America. Over 200 a year we do every single year. It's incredible. We're going to take care of Gold Star families whose loved ones die in the line of duty, a husband or wife left behind with their children. We're going to give them a mortgage-free home. And if you're catastrophically injured, service member or first responder, you give your body for your country, your community, we're going to build you a mortgage-free smart home anywhere in the country. You know, we do the tune this year. We're building 50 mortgage-free or 60 mortgage-free smart homes this year and 100 next year. But we've been doing this for quite a while. So how do we come to be? Because we're always going to keep that promise. So it's not like all of a sudden we're going to take care of homeless vets. We're not going to do the other things that we've been doing all these years. No, we're all going to do that. We're not going to stop doing that. So I'll tell you what. We were thinking, and personally I was thinking, and the foundation was thinking, doing homeless veterans, take care of homeless veterans. But it was just like, how are we going to be able to do it? How are we going to raise this kind of money? Because it's not easy. Each one of these projects, $15, $20 million. Every time we buy a piece of property, or a piece of property is donated to us, you know, or we buy a hotel. We just bought, Gavin, 15 of them around the country, you know, right now. You know, last couple years, 10,000 homeless vets off the street. Last 2 years, 10,000 homeless vets off the street plus. It's incredible. The one thing that we were all worried about, and we knew, is that we just couldn't put a roof over their heads, that we had to get them all the comprehensive services that they needed. And they needed to have it where they are. And they needed to be by a VA. So there's a continuity. We work closely with the VA. It was daunting. There was a moment we almost didn't do it. There was a moment we almost didn't do it because we said, how can we do this? How can we do this? And one day, I won't say the exact words, kind of like, F it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it because it is needed. And you know what? I believe it hasn't been done today because it's so difficult to do. And there are great individuals. I was just speaking to an organization that's doing one in Washington, D.C. Where are you? We're over there. Thank you so much. We're going to talk afterwards. They're doing something similar to this in Washington, D.C. But who's going to do it all over the country to get, and it's, Brad's right, it's not 38,000. And you know how we know that? Because we took 10,000 homeless vets off the street the last 2 years, and they're still saying it's 38,000. So we know it's a heck of a lot more. How we came here, all right, how we came here. And we said we're going to make sure that we do all the services, and it's incredible. And Gavin will talk to it a little bit more. And Gavin Naples, who heads up this homeless veteran project program, is doing a terrific job, to say the least, and he'll talk a little bit to that. But how did we come here? I'll tell you how we came here, you know, in many different ways. I did a little walk for the 20th anniversary of September 11, 2001. I wanted to do something to honor my brother and what he did on 9/11. I knew I wanted to do something that would be very physical but very spiritual. And it came to fruition that I decided that I was going to walk from the Pentagon to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to Ground Zero, and come in on Ground Zero on the exact day, on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I walked through Harrisburg. And I walked underneath a overpass. And Samantha, I believe, was with me, and and I know my team was with us. And I saw a lot of homeless, and a lot of them were homeless veterans. And I knew that this would be one place that we should do it. Yes, this land came in a different way, but this is where we needed to be. I can't thank you enough, because so many people are responsible for this. So many people have come together and helped us get to the point that we are now, to make sure that we are going to be able to build this veteran village here on this beautiful property. It's remarkable what's going on in America. It's remarkable. It's a great time to be an American. It's always a great time for me to be an American. I've always felt that way. But it's a great thing to see, and what we've been doing, bringing so many people together. That's the beauty of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. You see this little sign over there? Thank you, a special thanks to our $11 a month donors. It's incredible. Millions of people have joined us on this mission. Millions of people have made the same promise to take care of you firefighters back over here. You know that, God forbid something happen, we're going to take care of your family. The police officers, you know that God forbid something happens, we're going to take care of your family. Our military, you know this. You know this, and I say it with such confidence because we have so many people that are coming together to make sure that we make this promise come true. And to be the person to watch it all, it is a miracle. It is an absolute miracle to be part of this. So I can't be happier than to be here today among so many beautiful people who understand our commitment to the greatest of all Americans, those who are willing to die for you and I, and all too often do, or those who were able to sacrifice their bodies for us, and all too often do, and those who come back different, that need to be helped, and to need to become whole again. That is our promise, and we will do it forever. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you and your family for your continued commitment to our nation's heroes. It is now my pleasure to welcome here with us today a lifelong resident of Harrisburg, a long-standing Harrisburg City Council president, and I must say, a tremendous supporter of our Veterans Village project. Please welcome Mayor Wanda R.D. Williams.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the great city of Harrisburg. It is my honor and privilege to open today's ceremony as we break ground on a truly extraordinary initiative, the Tunnel to Towers Village, Veteran Village, right here in the capital city of Pennsylvania. On behalf of our residents and my administration and our dedicated public servants, I want to extend a heartfelt welcome to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, to our distinguished guests, and most importantly, to the veterans and families whose strength, sacrifice, and service have made this day possible. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation was born from one of our nation's darkest days, 9/11. Its namesake, firefighter Stephen Siller, gave his life that day, running through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to reach the Twin Towers. Since then, the foundation has honored his legacy by doing phenomenal good, providing mortgage-free homes for Gold Star families, smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans, and transitional housing for unhoused heroes across this country. And now, this mission continues in the city of Harrisburg. The Veteran Village we celebrate today is more than a construction site. It is a commitment, a promise, a symbol of what happens when compassion, patriotism, and action all come together. It will provide safe, stable housing for veterans in need. It will offer them not only shelter, but most importantly, dignity. Not only space, but community. And not only resources, but hope. We know that far too many veterans come home to uncertainty. Far too many carry visible and invisible wounds. And far too many struggle to find their place after they have already given so much for ours. Today, we say to these veterans, you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. And here in Harrisburg, you are home. To the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, thank you for believing in this city. Thank you for honoring our heroes with more than words. And thank you for reminding us that the true measure of a community is how we care for those who have fought our battles. Let this ground we break today be a foundation, not just for homes, but for healing. Thank you all for being here. May God bless our veterans, this project, and the great city of Harrisburg. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a beautiful city, and we've been so welcomed by not only the mayor, but every elected official we've come in contact with. And we'd like to extend our deepest appreciation to our veterans for their service, ensuring our freedom and safety for our families and loved ones. At this time, we ask all service members to please stand or raise your hand so we can recognize your service. And now we'll ask all first responders to please stand and raise your hand so we can acknowledge your service. Thank you all for your service, your bravery, and your sacrifice, which allowed us to live our lives in the greatest nation the world has ever known. Please, let's give them another round of applause. Today is a momentous day as we stand on the grounds that will soon be the beacon of hope for so many of our nation's heroes. In addition to providing housing, the Harrisburg Veterans Village will also include, as our chairman mentioned, several supportive services that our veterans are in desperate need of to make sure that we make them whole once again. Access will include behavioral health, case management, entitlements assistance, employment assistance, peer support, financial literacy, legal advocacy, and a wide range of ancillary supportive services partnered with people right here in the community. Tunnel to Towers is pleased to tell you that we have over 2,000 partners around the country. We believe in the theory of force multiplication. If there are people out there doing good work, we're going to help you do better work, and together we're going to help so many more heroes. We acquired this property and we had the privilege of unearthing what our chairman had mentioned, the fascinating details behind the memorial stone, and it's right over here to my left, and I hope you'll be able to spend a few moments out there after lunch, during lunch. It is an amazing part of history. It was meant to be that we should be here on this site in Harrisburg. Now to talk more about our effort in eradicating homeless veterans at a national level, please welcome our Senior Vice President for our Homeless Veterans Program, Gavin Naples.
Thank you, Brad. Good morning, everyone. I'll be brief in my remarks, but wanted to say how excited we are to break ground today on this riverfront property where we will build a permanent supportive housing program for 84 veterans in the Harrisburg area. Tunnel to Towers Foundation also has veterans villages completed or in the works currently in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Bradenton, Florida, Charleston, South Carolina, Memphis, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, Birmingham, Alabama, Bayville and Jackson, New Jersey, Long Island and Buffalo, New York, Denver, Colorado, Las Vegas, Nevada, Mayaguez and San Juan, Puerto Rico, and many, many, many more villages coming soon. There's a tremendous amount of background work that goes into creating one of these beautiful villages. It's often not seen. So today I'd like to thank my team who does such an amazing job every day at furthering our mission of eradicating homelessness amongst veterans and ensuring that the word homeless and veteran are never used in the same sentence again. So thank you to Luis Menendez and our construction team who work tirelessly to highlight each property's attributes and create the best village possible for our veterans. Murray Clendenin and our facilities team that are in charge of operating and maintaining our villages to ensure our veterans have a place to live in comfort and dignity in perpetuity. Gerlene Blaise and Amy Hall and the rest of our supportive housing team who are in charge of delivering the supportive services that will occur here for our veterans, so that we're not just providing long-term supportive housing for veterans and a permanent place for them to call home, but so that we can also help identify the root causes of issues veterans are struggling with and provide a platform aimed at rehabilitating and reintegrating veterans back into the community. That is our ultimate objective with this program. If a veteran is older and looking for a permanent place to call home and live out their golden years, they absolutely can. But our objective here is reintegration back into the community. Constance Barry and Kathleen and Noah and the rest of our National Case Management Network, who house veterans who are struggling with homelessness and their families, making sure veterans don't backslide into homelessness if they have evictions or foreclosure or utility arrears. We keep them in their homes, okay, all throughout the nation, no matter where they are, every single day. Sean Dowling and Sean Clark and our new HUD-VASH services team, who are currently working with over 2,500 VA representatives across the nation to provide housing assistance to get veterans rapidly housed. We are now in all 50 states offering housing assistance to veterans in need that are struggling with homelessness, and all U.S. territories. As Frank mentioned, we provided housing and access to services to over 10,000 veterans since the program's inception in late 22, and over 5,000 children. Our foundation is premised on helping those heroes of our nation that leave behind small children. So the children are also very, very much forgotten sometimes. So we're incredibly honored to be able to not only help our veterans, but the children. This year alone, in 2025, we will provide housing assistance to over 7,500 veterans and over 4,000 children. These numbers will grow exponentially as we strengthen our partnerships with other organizations, with the VA, nonprofits, and the community to share resources, to share best practices, to share contacts. No one organization can do it alone. The federal government can't do it alone. Everyone working towards the same common goal is how we will get to that functional zero. Lastly, I wanted to express our sincerest gratitude to the City of Harrisburg, the Mayor of Harrisburg, and all of our supporters that have allowed this project to finally come to fruition, slowly becoming one of my aesthetically pleasing properties. Very, very excited about the riverfront here. Special thanks to John Hickey and the other members of Veterans Outreach of Pennsylvania that really drove this home. Peggy Grove for providing this wonderful opportunity to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. We look forward to working with you and providing a high-quality, long-term solution for veterans transitioning out of homelessness and are looking for that continuity of care and long-term supportive housing. And a special thanks to the residents of Harrisburg who supported our mission and realized the benefit of using this land as a therapeutic respite for our nation's heroes. So again, our commitment to the American public is to continue to work as hard as we possibly can, other organizations, the VA, you all, so that we can all work together to march towards the path of ending veteran homelessness in our country for good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin. It's true, public-private partnerships are what makes America so special. No other country brings the private sector and the public sector together to get stuff done. Our chairman doesn't like to hear the 10 ways things can't get done. We want the one way it will be done. I'd like to welcome another great supporter of ours, a former news anchor, reporter, Harrisburg City Councilwoman, and a steadfast advocate for your community and its members. Please join me in welcoming Pennsylvania State Senator Patty Kim.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Patty Kim, the state senator for the city of Harrisburg. I cannot thank Tunnel to Towers for their support and for starting this. Frank, you don't know me. I'm a huge fan. Thank you for starting this up for your baby brother. You are going to change the lives of the people in my district, and we thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you to the organizers for getting us out of our warm, cozy offices to a pretty crappy day. It's cold, it's raw, but it's a reminder of what our veterans, the ones who are unhoused, have to go through day to day. It's a reminder that they need to be protected and live in dignity in a warm home. I get to have a different perspective. My father was a child during the Korean War, and the stories he tells me about what the soldiers did for him. He would go up to them and ask them for chocolate. I mean, it wasn't really like a big deal, but he remembers them being compassionate while protecting them from communism. I am a firm believer, as an American, that when our soldiers come home, they should be shown compassion and protection when they are done with their duty. So, on behalf of the General Assembly of Representative Dave Mattson, Representative Nate Davidson, and Representative Joe Kerwin, we are committed passing laws, sponsoring bills that will make sure that our veterans have the benefits that they deserve. If there's any tax exemptions or benefits, that we will make sure that they get them because they deserve it. Thank you again, Tunnel to Towers and Frank, for all you did. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. As Frank pointed out, none of this would be possible without the generosity of the American people, the Foundation's incredible supporters. We're blessed with so many who contribute to our cause. Corporate, yes, amazing corporate leadership, but the true backbone of Tunnel to Towers rests in our donors who give $11 a month, our community and government leaders who work tirelessly, and our partners who offer continued service every day. Each and every one of them, each and every one of you, help us to do good for the American heroes that we serve. And we'd like to acknowledge some of those heroes who are here today, some of those who have made this possible right here in Harrisburg. We ask that you please hold your applause to the end as we honor the representatives from the federal offices of U.S. Senator Fetterman and McCormick. A thank you to Adjutant General of Pennsylvania, Major General John R. Rippey, who we'll hear from very soon. Of course, Senator Kim, thank you for being here and your kind remarks. Representatives from State Senator Scott Martin's office, State Representative Dave Madsen, State Representative Nate Davidson. A special thank you to the Office of Mayor Wanda Williams. Thank you for being here and all your support. Members of the Harrisburg City Council, Dauphin County Commissioners, Mike Priest, and the Perry County Commissioners. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you to the Dauphin County Sheriff Nicholas Chiamenti Jr. Thank you to the Cumberland County Sheriff Jody Smith, Chief Brian Enterline, and the entire Harrisburg Fire Department. Many of their apparatus are here today. Thank you to the Cumberland County support staff, Chief Brian Enterline, and the entire Harrisburg Fire Department, who I mentioned. A very special thank you to Command Sergeant Major Richard Egan and his wife Loretta, their daughter Linda, who are with us today. You honor us with your presence. Michael Rodabaugh and the Leo A. Daly architectural team. A big thank you to Peggy and Michael Grove. John Hickey from the Veterans Outreach of Pennsylvania, our newest neighbors. Thank you to Bruce Grossman of Caldwell and Kearns, the amazing team at Edward H. Black and Associates, Mike Kleinpeter and Steve Conway of Pyramid Construction, and thank you to Dan Galat of RC2. John Loretta of Hillman Consulting, and all this would not be possible without the generosity of AZ Party Rentals for this great tent and all their generosity. Thank you again to the pipe and drum band, the Kilty Band, who celebrates their 100th year of service in this community. And of course, today's color guard from the JROTC of Harrisburg High School. Thank you for being here. Today's barbecue and lunch following this program, Mission Barbecue. How many people have been to Mission Barbecue? How many people have been to Mission Barbecue at noon? Okay, for those of you who don't know, I went to Mission Barbecue in Annapolis, Maryland, and I got my food around 11:30. I'm eating, and all of a sudden at the stroke of noon, everybody puts their knives and forks down, stands up, the cooks stop cooking, the servers stop serving, and they play the national anthem. Amazing food, amazing patriotism. Thank you for your generosity. The Tunnel to Towers events team is really second to none. You wouldn't have recognized this place 3 days ago. It is amazing what our team does at each and every event. They are awesome. Thank you. And most importantly, to the Siller family. This wouldn't be possible without the sacrifice of Stephen, but also of their family coming together to honor his memory. Let's give them all a round of applause. And now to deliver our keynote today is the 55th Adjutant General of Pennsylvania and head of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Prior to his service, he served in the Pennsylvania National Guard, which included 2 deployments, a 16-year member of the PA General Assembly, a West Point graduate. Please join me in welcoming Adjutant General of Pennsylvania, Major General John R. Hippie.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. My wife used to be a grant for the Basic White House. She was a trainee in the Middle East, and Mrs. Wilson, New York a lot. Okay, I look forward to meeting you. But I will talk about it. Thank you. So please, ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. I am I am truly honored to be here today to represent not only the 17,000 men and women who wear the uniform for Pennsylvania, but also, if that was just my job to do the Army and Air Force thing, it would be a dream job. But I also have the privilege of serving on the governor's cabinet and representing the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs that's responsible for taking care of and providing services to our over 700,000 veterans from Pennsylvania. And I like to tell people, I don't represent just National Guard we represent all the veteran services. So Frank and the entire team, we're excited because one thing that we've been focused on is how do we have those P3 partnerships that really take the best of America and the best of Pennsylvania and bring those resources together. So my state team, I got about 2,500 individuals that do our veterans. We have 6 veterans. It's a commitment to you. It is a commitment to you that we will be working with you. We work very closely with our counties. This is, I'm touched right now. And Frank, you said it. When I hear the pipes and drums, anyone that's worn a uniform, whether a first responder or military, that is not only about the ceremony we're having now, but those we've lost. And it's our obligation. It's a tragedy that we have any veterans or any Americans that are homeless. But, to the team out of York, we're always very proud of them. But I give you my solemn commitment that, every resource we have on behalf of the governor, the legislature, Pennsylvania is a really strong state for veteran services. We're going to use every asset to make sure that we're supporting what you're doing here and that we're going to continue. My statistics say we've seen some improvement in 8%. But it also told me we have 200 veterans that are homeless, and I just think the number's a lot more. And so we're going to address that. I'll also say that when you look at events like today, it makes you feel really proud to be a Pennsylvanian, to be an American, to be able to see all these tremendous men and women who are just getting things done. And our governor likes to talk about he uses a couple other adjectives, but we'll use getting things done today because that's what we want to do. The speakers prior to me have already eloquently spoke of the why we need to be doing this. You've talked about the how. I will just commit to you that on behalf of the Pennsylvania National Guard and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Veterans Affairs, we will be with you side by side, and we won't quit until we get it done. Thank you so much for everyone being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Is Jack Baum here? Would you stand up for a second? This gentleman has been such a great supporter of ours. We're so happy that you joined us today. Thank you. All right, let's get down to business. We're going to ground break today on a historic property. We'll ask you to join us. We're going to break some dirt and make this official, and we're going to get to work. So follow us out. You'll follow our ceremonial unit, and we're going to get this done. Thank you.